teen sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the queen of teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes. Welcome, everybody. Landing on Teen Sports Radio, either at 96.9 FM, 1290 AM, or Eternity Ready Radio. Big hugs and kisses to Jeremiah Ferris out there, giving us a lot of love every single Tuesday at 9 a.m. In the house right now, we got to get to it. We got a big show. Romy's in the house, Santa Barbara High School Dons. You got to get to class. What's going on in Santa Barbara?
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, reporting back from Santa Barbara, California, with this week's SB Dons Sports Recap. In baseball news, the boys broke open a tie game with a 4-run 6th inning for an 8-4 win at home over Skyline High School from Mesa, Arizona on Thursday. They were behind 4-2 going into the 5th, when freshman D.H. Jetner Welch hit a 2-run double to tie the game. Junior Michael Firestone led the team with a 2-for-4 day at the plate. Junior Liam Keithley started on the mound for Santa Barbara, surrendering 4 runs on 7 hits over 5 innings, striking out 2 and walking 1. With this win, the boys improved 2-4 on the season. In volleyball news, the girls' beach volleyball team won its first match of the season, beating Arroyo Grande 4-1 at a windy West Beach on Tuesday. Their coach, Kristen Kempe, said, "I'm so proud of how our girls performed in this strong wind today. We had gusts up to 36 miles per hour at West Beach." The girls battled through some not-so-ideal conditions, and they worked hard during this win. In wrestling news, wrestler Pepper Marks achieved another milestone in her incredible career. She earned a spot on the podium with a 6th-place finish at the CIF State Wrestling Championships at the Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield on Saturday. She's the first high school girls wrestler on the South Coast to place the state championships and the first wrestler from a South Coast school to place since Alex Mack of San Marcos took 2nd in the heavyweight division in 2004. Marks wrestled 4 matches in the 235-pound weight class on Saturday and went 2-2. She went 4-3 for the 2-day tournament. That's it for this week's SB Dons recap, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. Next up, Charger. It's Charger time. Valeria, how you doing, Valeria?
Thanks, Erica, and hey everyone, I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, back with this week's Charger recap. Starting off with girls beach volleyball. They played against Arroyo Grande and the final score was 5-0, the Chargers taking the win. The biggest win was by Lila McQuinnan and Ella Benson, who won 21-7 in their second set. Then softball played against Lompoc High School. The final score was 8-5. Unfortunately, the Chargers lost. Baseball played in their 4th game of the Eastern Tournament against Camarillo. The final score was 3-2. The Chargers lost. Then boys volleyball played against Oak Park. The final score was 3-0, the Chargers taking the win. Girls lacrosse also played against Oak Park, but unfortunately lost the game with the final score of 16-6. Going back to softball, they played in a non-league game against St. Joseph. The final score was 3-2. Unfortunately, the Chargers lost. And finally, boys volleyball. They played against Valencia, and the final score was 3-0, the Chargers winning the game. And that is it for this week's Charger recap. I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and I'll see y'all next week.
Thank you, Valeria. DP High School. Sean Walters is up next. What's going on, Sean?
Thank you so much, Erica. This is Bishop Diego High School senior Sean Walters signing on once again to give you the Bishop Diego High School sports recap. Starting this week's recap off with baseball, our guys unfortunately lost a competitive game versus San Ynez at home last Tuesday. Though we lost, we had some great performances as senior Ryan Reinschild pitched a complete game, throwing 7 strikeouts and only allowing 1 hit. Isaac Veal also went 1 for 3 and scored the only run. Good try, boys. Also on Tuesday, though, the boys volleyball team swept Carp 3-0 at Carp High School. As a team, the Cardinals had 33 aces, with Braylon Caters having 12 himself. Austin Carty also had 4 aces and had 6 kills. They then went on to get their 2nd win of the season on the road at Pioneer Valley on Thursday. Senior Braylon Caters led the way with 17 kills, and freshman John Michael Flint added 10. Great Great job, guys. More great news as the softball team got a massive win at Santa Barbara High School on a chilly Thursday afternoon. Madeline Ferries threw a complete game, getting us a shutout win. Lauren Weeks also balled out as she went 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and scored 3 runs for the Cardinals. Amazing job, girls. Well, everyone, that's all I've got for your Bishop Sports Recap. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to tune in once again next week. This is Sean Walters signing off.
All right, we're going to close out with a royal duet. Ambrose Partee, Sammy Schaefer, talk to me.
Thanks, Erica. It's Sammy and Ambrose here with your weekly sports update.
Starting off with tennis, our boys beat West Ranch 14-4 in their season opener.
Seniors Joey and Charlie Friedman swept their sets in leading San Marcos to 8-set victories in doubles.
Shay Suzuki and Kyle Schaefer also swept their 3 sets.
Great job, boys. And now moving on to lacrosse, our girls beat Hart 60-6 in their season opener.
Senior Casey Springer led with 8 goals and had 3 assists for a career best 11 points.
Great work, girls. And now moving on to girls softball.
Our girls beat Pacifica 14-4 in a Channel League opener last Tuesday.
Junior Caitlin Early hit 2 home runs and drove in 4 runs to lead the Royals to their win.
Freshman first baseman Charlotte Hastings had a big day going 3 for 3, and Emma Foster went 2 for 3 with a double and a triple.
Freshman pinch hitter Jessica Vega hit a double down at the left field line and scored the winning to close out the Mercy Rule win.
Great job, girls. Now moving on to baseball, our boys beat Burbank Burroughs 6-2 last Tuesday.
Senior Kaden Hodina threw 6 solid innings, striking out 4 and not allowing a single walk.
Senior Eric Perez closed the game with 2 strikeouts.
Owen Estabrook, Brad Chicana, Stephen Bradley, and Hodina all hit doubles.
Darren Orlando added a single, and Cole Schoenwetter hit an RBI sacrifice fly.
That's all we have for you this week.
Back to you, Erica.
All right, we've got Hooga. Dr. D, what do we got next?
Hooga!
Right after these messages. And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, I'm Dominique Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center, and this is what I call a Hooga moment. So Hooga has to do with all those wonderful things in our life that create a comfy, cozy moment with family and friends, makes it easier to relate with teammates on our different sports, makes more comfortable space to do our learning, and helps re-energize our adaptive energy. So all those authentic human qualities is what makes up Hooga. And what I want to talk about today is about humor and how important humor is in creating enlivening our Hooga moments. So in the Middle Ages, in the king's court, there became a servant became known as the jester. And the jester was someone close to the king that the king trusted, who could actually tell jokes and quite frequently told jokes about the king. The jester was also the messenger, a lot of times taking messages from the king to some important person, because the jester was a very trusted servant for the king. Now, the importance of humor is that we have to have trust in order to have humor. And the people of the court could tell if the court was a happy, safe place to be, is if the messenger, if the jester didn't get killed. This is where the don't kill the messenger comes from. It's don't kill the court jester, right? Because that's a person who is delivering those very important messages. So if the jester told a joke and got beheaded, this would send a message to the entire court that this was now not a safe environment, that there were certain issues that could not be brought up, and there's polarization of different opinions and so forth. But it was definitely a testament to whether it was safe or not. And the reason why I'm bringing up humor right now is that a lot of people are experiencing in our current culture sort of like a lack of the ability to either enjoy humor, share humor. There's a lot going on where our comedians are being canceled. People's messages on social media are being misinterpreted. So I kind of wanted to go back to this quality of humor, that part of what humor requires is a bit of intimacy. In other words, into me see, that you know the person who's making the joke. And if you know them and you know their heart, even if the joke is what we used to call slightly off-colored, even if the joke is slightly inappropriate, we would still have a chuckle. We might say, it's not a great joke anymore, but I can see where you're coming from. But there is a heart-to-heart connection where we are able to give grace and we are able to forgive and we're able to laugh. Another thing that humor and laughter does is it's sort of like the social cue about whether the space that you're in is safe and whether the person that you're exchanging a conversation with is actually trustworthy. And one of our first things of humor that a lot of us will play with, especially if we're with strangers, is sarcasm. Now, sarcasm is usually where you say something and it has some irony to it or some ridicule, might even have a little bit of contempt. But the sarcasm only works if the person that you're speaking to knows you and takes it in context. So most of the time, I don't encourage sarcasm because it's kind of confusing, especially if you don't have the context. But I've learned that sarcasm is frequently one of the first ways that we may unknowingly test our environment to see if the people that we're with share our values or can laugh and have humor about what it is that, might be kind of funny. The other thing about humor is that we can all laugh at things that, especially if it's trying to make a joke about something that's very serious, we can only laugh about things that we've healed from. So for people who have experienced trauma and they're going through a healing process, one of the things that you learn is when you can laugh and tell a joke about the serious trauma that you've gone through, that kind of gives you a little bit of a pace of where you're at in your healing. It does not lessen the experience that you've had, but rather it's encouraging a deeper understanding and a deeper connection to people when you can share heart and have humor. So I just want to encourage that as we create these hygge moments with everyone, that we embrace humor and get everybody laughing and joking again. And remember, the Dalai Lama laughs all the time. Dr. Amy.
Well, I have a question for you because this is something that I really struggle with about where is something healthy, kind-hearted humor and where is it, anywhere beyond that from like mean to truly hateful. And I don't feel like, I know for myself, my own intentions, but when I'm listening to someone else, especially someone I don't know, there's so many times, even if I'm just listening to a comedian where I'm left sitting there going, is that funny? Is that funny and helpful? Like, is it a healing way to bring light to something? Or is it cruel? And I can't think of a specific example right now, but there's so many times where it's like, I don't know about that one. So do you have any wisdom to offer on for ourselves and when we're listening to someone else. Because like I'm also thinking about like bullying, where someone will say, well, can't you take a joke? And it's like, that's a very common phrase for a bully to use to justify something that is cruel rather than funny and helpful.
It's so beautiful that you're taking a position of, is the humor appropriate? And the point that I'm trying to bring up is that humor is sort of like the litmus test for the community that you're in. And so it really has to be in context. And it's related to how does the person who's receiving the joke, how much empathy do you have for the person who's telling the joke? And do you know their heart? And so in the past, if you looked in the past of just US history, there have been times where society has laughed at a lot of things that society is not laughing about now. So there are two things you can look at. One is perhaps we're taking some of our traumas more seriously, but another is perhaps because of the lack of human connection from COVID, our hearts have literally grown smaller and that we have less trust in our greater social environment, and we're requiring more from people before we will laugh at a joke. Anyone
it's
else?
weird. That's what I agree with you, Dominique. It's like when you want to find funny, I always go through all the comedy links right now. I was so excited that Roseanne Barr is back. I mean, I just always have found her funny. I was a big watcher of the Connors, like all growing, in my adult life. And what happened to her, I just didn't think it was fair. But then again, I knew the kind of person she was, and I knew with time she'd come back. But she is a woman that I really look up to because, I mean, she's standing for her values. You don't think it's funny, just don't watch it. There's a lot of people that I don't think is funny, and I just don't watch it. So, but to find the funny, like Dominique says, to find that heart connection that you have, to give you joy, that's where it's really good to do. And my mom's she's passed, but she went through a lot of trauma. She was very funny, but she always touched on those things that's like what Dominic said, because you knew she was healed because after everything she's gone through, born in a bomb shelter in 1939, everything she's witnessed, experienced, and had to deal with in life in Germany, with her dad. I mean, her father fought, it was like in the war with Hitler. I mean, and everything. So she got past that with humor, and I learned that as a technique, and it was. So a lot of things in my, you're not going to think it's funny, okay, but I get where it's coming from. And I do the same thing, quite frankly. I've had a lot of trauma, like we've all had a lot of trauma in our life, and Dominique knows I touch on it, and and I've done a lot of work on myself, but that is the full circle, comes full circle when you can laugh about it. Dominique.
Well, Dr. Jean, when you're working with your clients and you're working with humor, is there any suggestions that you give them? Because it's definitely a body sensation of whether you laugh at a joke or not.
It's a really good question. I consider myself, and I think my community considers me a pretty funny person, and maybe I don't get to show that so much on this forum exactly. I just was in a skit that was outrageously humorous and sort of pushed the boundaries. And it made me really question, how much am I putting out there? What am I saying about other people? And how do I weave in kindness? So, along with the humor. But, in answer to your question, there is definitely weaving in, being able to look at yourself and not take yourself quite so seriously is a lot of how we might bring in humor, of sort of those, what are the background voices that are we're saying to ourselves that are negative, and being able to laugh at the things that we do to ourselves, right? That we can just flip a switch and do something differently. So sort of, I guess in that realm, we use it the most, or I use that the most with my clients.
Christine, I know you. I find you would be a funny person. See that? I love your laugh. I can tell you that. When you laugh, I always smile.
Oh, I used to work on my belly laugh for a long time. Yeah. I would do the belly
laugh.
I
like that. I like that big laugh.
Well, I think for me, one of the things that I try to find a way to laugh, especially if I can laugh or cry, I'm going to try to laugh, and that will shift the mood. It shifts everything for myself. And so I think that in finding a way to laugh, it is really it's the great equalizer in a sense, right? Yeah. Because it also, I think, helps with the stress hormones in our body. I don't know if we already talked about that.
Yeah. Let me just say real quick that Don Sanders is going to be up next. But last night we played cards. I know we got Riot too. But last night we were playing cards, and it was this is last week, not last night. Last week we were playing cards, and it was funny. Okay, thank you, Dominique, for killing the mood of the show. Okay? Thank you. Now everybody laugh at that. Okay, so the show was did it last week too. So anyway, we were talking about Ash Wednesday and everything, and I was, we going back in memories of having to get the ashes, going to St. Raphael's, and then going to, I was just telling stories, and then we were playing cards, and I'm on this run. I don't think I lost a Hearts game in like weeks. So I walk in there, Dominique put ashes across on my forehead. I'm sitting down. It wasn't until I don't know, and I'm crushing everybody. It wasn't until like the third hand where her mom looks up and looks at me. She starts busting up laughing. Okay? She goes, "You didn't put ashes on your forehead." I said, "Right, I'm using everything I can, okay, to continue. All right. This rain I have." So yeah, that was pretty funny. Missed it. Had to be there. Clearly, by looking at everybody's facial expressions, you had to be there. But listen, I want to continue this. I want to get with Dawn. I want to get right after Dawn, we got Ryer with college coaching. Right after these messages.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. I'll make you do it all again. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Don Sanders, donsmassageohi.com, and this subject of humor, I was recently seeing a new client in Ojai, and he said, "I'm in the entertainment business." I said, "Oh, what do you do?" He says, "I'm a road manager for Bill Burr, the comedian." And I said, "Oh, wow." I said, he's got a kind of a raw edge to him. And he says, "Yeah, if you're from Boston, you understand that kind of humor." So, I mean, I've had to get past that to be able to appreciate his humor. But then we were talking about how he'll lead you down a road with what he's talking about that makes you think he's on one side of an argument. And then you get down there and you're having a laugh and you realize that he's also turning around and coming back and making fun of you too. And so that's kind of a different element, where somebody gets you to laugh because you think you're taking sides about something. And then you realize you're having a laugh on yourself as well. And I think that's actually some growth going on when you can maybe not be too serious about stuff that you think you don't like, and you can maybe even find some space for considering something that you can find funny, and then you don't realize that you're actually softening your position about something else that maybe you haven't been so open-minded about.
Nice. Ryer, you got to add some 2 cents to this whole, I know where you're working at Bishop, and you're working with kids every single day. I don't know if you've found since COVID, after COVID, it's all energy, right? You feel that the kids are still, how do you feel?
Well, just on this subject of humor, one related kind of to that is just this idea of trying to find joy in the thing that's ahead of you. So like right now is a time where I am meeting with 11th grade families regularly to start the college research and application planning process. And what I say right now to the families and particularly to the students is the pressure isn't on right now. And so try and find joy in looking at schools. What it's exciting. And this is the thing that I just geek out on is colleges. Obviously, that's my world. And I can respect that most people won't be into it or geek out on it as much as I would. But, as I travel colleges across the country, I get excited every single time. And it makes me want to live 10 lives. And so I just try and instill in the students that this is, something that I want to take the pressure away from and instead have you walk on a campus or attend a virtual tour with a sense of joy or a sense of excitement.
I love that. And I love your whole approach on schools, trying to have a child when you've got that, I got to go to UCLA, I've got to go to UCLA. And really until you get there and feel it, there's a sense of space, and there's almost each institution has its own soul, so to speak. Is that the right fit?
Right. Yeah. And then related to that is, if you do just focus on one kind of dream school and you have this tunnel vision in this is who I am, this is my identity. Life doesn't work like that, right? I mean, I get smacked in the face multiple times with a sharp left turn in my life that I didn't see coming and rocked my world. And I resisted it, and I was angry, and I had grief related to these experiences. And then as soon as unfortunately, it took in many ways getting through the experience to be able to look back and go, oh, I'm actually kind of glad that happened because now my life is better in XYZ kind of way. And so kind of related to, again, finding joy in opportunity, this huge world of colleges, thousands of colleges to choose from. Find joy in, okay, I got waitlisted. My heart is broken with that dream school. But you know what? There's a place that's going to bring you just as much joy. So open your heart up to those things. And I would just say that applies to everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn.
Especially for our teen athletes, I don't want you to think that those private $50,000, $60,000 schools aren't attainable, because if you have great grades, and I'm speaking as a mom that had a son that went from, had the whole MLB dream, but went to CC. Well, first ended up having a situation where the coach got canned, and then so didn't want to go in that direction. So went to CC in San Diego, played plenty of summer ball, but finally landed at Holy Names. It cost me $265 a month. That's it. When you have the grades and you have, and you're good at you paid your dues, and you just didn't give up. Yeah, and he had a college coach, and then and I'm not kidding you. And Rye Carpet, you're bomb. Okay.
Thank you. And I think the next time that I'm with you guys, I want to talk about like the recruiting process, and similarly, how to take this thing, your athletic experience that brings you so much joy, and maybe you do carry that over to the college experience from high school. And so how do you market yourself? So I think maybe that might be a good thing for us to focus on, and not be intimidated by the process.
Well, it's a completely different world now, isn't it, Ryan? I'm going to have to brush up on it because of the amount of monies these kids can. Your elite athletes are making a lot of money now, which I am so thankful. And that's a whole. It's almost you need to have a college coach, and then you need to have an agent at the same time for your elite athletes, because the monies that are out there right now are insane, and they're making money right now. I saw a seventh grader went viral. He's 7 foot, 7 foot tall. Anything he posts, I follow it. You know what I mean? Like. So I don't. God only knows what he's going to be worth by the time he's a senior.
Yeah. So, and then conversely, like there's plenty of opportunity for non-elite athletes to, look for walk-on opportunities or to do club, intramural and stuff like that. So there's plenty of places to find joy on college, even if you're not, elite. So again, it's just having an open mind and an open heart. And so I'll definitely cover that next time we get together.
And it's also the person that has a set of pipes, right? That can sing, that the artist. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of opportunities out there for our kids. Definitely. I'd love to attach it. Dr. Amy, did you have your hand up, or Dr. Jean? I missed out.
Well, I was just going to say that along with having Raya as a college coach and maybe a marketing agent, that having a mindfulness coach to enhance not only your physical technique and your physical skills, but the mental and emotional skills that you need to balance and excel in sports, in school, and in your life in general, can be super helpful.
Nice. We'll be back after these messages.
Well, now together we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man.
And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
This is Dr. Jean with drjeantherapy.com. And, I love what Raya was saying too about, being able to think about, things in a broader spectrum when you're going to college, not getting stuck. And, when I went to college, I took so many different kinds of classes. It's really, you don't know quite who you are or what you want to be. You might be really skilled in one particular area, but, I really, all of the different classes I took serve me now. And I think about I've lived a lot of different lifetimes, and I feel like I'm living about 3 right now. Being able to diversify is really important.
I really appreciated going to City College and taking a drama class. That was so insightful. It was out of my wheelhouse. I was studying, computer science and information systems analysis. And so it took me out of my comfort zone. And I learned so much from that.
I took summer school every summer, since 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I mean, I don't know what their ranking is right now but year after year after year, they were number 1 CC in the country. So I don't want to say it is this year. I don't know. But for many years, we've been doing this show now, 13. It's been number 1. So the kids are truly blessed to have that. And look at the location, right? How can you not like walking around on that campus just to get the exposure?
And just a reminder for not just the high school students and the potential city college enrollees, but for all the adults, you can enroll as well. So if you didn't take theater or drawing or Italian or guitar or surfing when you were a kid, you can take it now.
Yeah, it's true.
Dominique, we're so blessed in California to have such a great city college system, and in particular in Santa Barbara. If people don't know, in Santa Barbara, a lot of the UCSB professors will teach a course or two at Santa Barbara City College because it's a different environment and they can actually interact with students in a different way. Rather than being in a hall with 300 students, you're interacting with 30 to 60 students in a classroom. So if you go to City College, you have an opportunity to interact with a UCSB professor.
Stay here. We've got Dr. Amy after these messages.
Brazil. Back in the USSR. Way down in LA. Every day dancing in the street. Crossing China too. Me and you dancing in the street.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m.
Hi, this is Dr. Amy with Teen Sports Radio, stillquietplace.com, and Spot a Spider. And we were talking about some very basic mindfulness skills that everyone, teens, coaches, parents, teachers can use. And I think one of the easiest ways to start is either to find my tracks for teens on Spotify and just kind of work your way through the tracks, practicing one a week till you've covered all of them. And if you find that it's helpful, then you may either want to read my book, A Still Quiet Place for Athletes, or organize a course, a 4-week course or an 8-week course for yourself and your teammates, for yourself and your friends. But really, again, as I said before, these skills will help you in your sports, in your performing arts, in school, in your relationships. They're just super helpful life skills to learn to make good choices, address challenges, communicate effectively, and we can all benefit from learning those things. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me at stillquietplace.com. I hope that my new website's going to be up super soon, but the current website still works, so reach out.
Dominique.
I just wanted to add, I'm so grateful for so many people that are now really focusing on meditation and mindfulness and so forth. I remember reading about the autobiography of Gandhi. I mean, Gandhi helped gain independence for India, right? And he's famous for saying when he had a very stressful day, he would meditate twice as long. So it's like the time that we take for this mindfulness is amazing with the amount of adaptation energy that it gives you and just a more relaxed place of beingness in your body. I'd say that's, for me, that's what my mindfulness time does, is it helps me be in my body.
Well, one of the things I'll say, and I'm not sure I'm allowed to use this word, so Erica will teach me, but when things are going to in a handbasket, then we often think we don't have time to sit and take a few minutes for ourselves and ponder how we're feeling, what we want, what we need, what other people involved want and need. And then often we rush in and we make a bad situation worse. And so it accumulates, but our wise, kind, compassionate decisions also accumulate, and they can make our lives so much easier.
Dr. Jean.
I love that you have so many options, Amy, for people to learn. I think that's really key for people, is to be able to pick the options, ways that are easily accessible, that you can go deeper in different ways. I had no idea you had all of those.
Right. And I did leave one out, which is like, if you want individual help, I'm available for that. So I went from the least expensive and easiest to do to the most in-depth.
Yeah, I love that. I think about how meditation, or I like to use the word embodiment, exercises, right, where you become more present, right, more in the here and now, sort of getting rid of that backlog of other thoughts or worries, even just for the moment, and that there's like changes in the brain, right, and how we shift our relationship to time. That if we can, get that, just take a few 15 minutes, whatever it is, then how you relate to time is more balanced, right? It feels like, I don't feel so stressed, like I have to hurry and get it done. There's plenty of time, and there's been studies, I don't have the exact references for that show that there are different parts of your mind, especially in trauma. When you're in trauma, you have a totally different relationship than when you're in a peaceful place.
Exactly.
Nice. Dominique, you want to wrap it up? We got a minute.
Oh, I just encourage everyone to notice your humor this next week, and the things that you don't feel are funny, and notice whether you're being bullied, because we don't want to condone bullying. That makes you not feel good in your body. So I encourage that we know the difference of humor, and just see if we can lighten things up and use laughter to make safe space.
Nice. Dr. Amy, thank you for being here. Don Sanders, Dr. Jean, Christine Marie had to take off, and so did Alex. But I'm so thankful to the community. I am so thankful to the world for tuning in to Teen Sports Radio. Dr. D, we're nothing without you.
Thank you.
That's
And
it.
you're
Just
welcome.
thank you.
That's all I've got right now.
All right. Well, I want to hear more from you next week. God bless Santa Barbara. See you next week.
Today, unstoppable today, unstoppable today, unstoppable today, I'm unstoppable today. Break down, only alone I will cry out now. You'll never see what's hiding out deep down. Yeah, I know I've heard that to let you feel sure is the only way to make friendships grow, but I'm too afraid now. I put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a virgin with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident. Yeah, I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a pusher with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single